Loving life out here in LA. Had fun at the game last night.
That's right.
Key, how we doing?
Is he? You all right, Key?
I'm good. I'm good, man. I'm good. I get it. The Raiders, the Raiders didn't do what I thought they would do last night, given the fact that it was an away home game for them. I get it. I feel even better because the Cowboys won and the Steelers lost, so I feel a little bit better.
You let me know when we can start the show.
Before we start the show, I just want Keyshawn to know that, because he's the L.A. native. He's the L.A. native. But last night, the Chargers hosted me. I mean, I was treated quite lovely, I might add. So far, is all that in a bag of chips.
Listen.
The arena is sensational. The owner suite,
You're kind of a big deal.
I mean, that suite, the hospitality, first class. The Chargers showed up and showed out. You saw the fellas greeting me to L.A., welcoming me to L.A., and then last night they did the same. I usually thought treatment like that was reserved for you, Keyshawn. Evidently, they think there's a new brother in L.A. I just wanted to let you know that. I just wanted to let you know.
You take it. You receive it. Listen, I enjoyed my room service in my bed, but it wasn't SoFi, that's for sure. All right, the Chargers took down the Raiders 28-14. That was behind another 3-touchdown performance from second-year quarterback Herbert. That was Herbert's sixth career game with 3 touchdowns and no picks, tied for the most through a player's first 2 seasons. Meanwhile, that was the Raiders' first loss of the season. Here's John Gruden on Herbert after the game.
He's a good quarterback. They got a heck of an offense. They got a lot of weapons. And they got a lot of different kinds of plays, and he can execute them. He's a special talent. They're going to go places this year. They're going to be a force to be dealt with. But we had penalties that were ridiculous. We gave up some plays in a passing game today that you can't give up. And we didn't play well in the first half.
The Chargers have come out firing this season and are off to a 3-1 start. Their lone loss coming in overtime against the Cowboys back in Week 2. The season marks their best 4-game start in several categories dating back to 2014, a season in which they finished 9-7 and narrowly missed the postseason. Keyshawn, I want to start with you. What message did the Chargers send last night?
Well, I think they sent a pretty damn good message, Molly and Stephen A. I mean, that team is ridiculous all the way across the board. I go all the way back to when Justin Herbert came out of Oregon. I had an opportunity, obviously, being on the West Coast, being a Pac-12 guy, to watch him play his entire college career. And he was clearly my favorite college quarterback coming out that year in the draft. I have no reason or thought process to why the Miami Dolphins selected Tua instead of Justin Herbert when he was sitting right there perfectly on the board for them. But not only that, you look at the trees on the outside for them, Williams and Allen and Cook at the tight end spot. You talk about Austin Eckler at the running back position. They got a lot on offense. And then defensively, when you want to talk about Derwin James, when he's healthy, he's one of the best safeties in the league. And then you talk about Bosa on the edge, creating problems. The middle, every level for them, the front line, the linebacking core, and the secondary is on fire right now. And that team will be reckoned with the entire season.
All right, so you're saying they'll be reckoned with. Do you care to go a bit further than that? How are you feeling about them and where they stand right now? Before I start, I want to know where you stand on the Chargers, particularly compared to the Raiders right now.
Well, they're a much better football team than the Raiders, clearly. They showed that already last night. It was 28. It could have gotten worse. 28 points doesn't really tell the whole story. I think when you talk about the entire AFC conference, Stephen A., they are number one right now as far as my money goes. They are ahead of Kansas City. They are ahead of Baltimore. They are ahead of the Cleveland Browns and even ahead of the Buffalo Bills. So I like them. I like Justin Herbert. I like what Brandon Staley is doing for them. There's no question about it. I went into the game thinking now, don't start laughing and grinning, that the Raiders would win the football game for a number of reasons. I just felt like it was Raider time, and they may get them. They may get them in Las Vegas. It's a long season. The Raiders are 3-1. It's a long season.
Okay, well, let me respond. Let me retort. First of all, I am laughing, and I am laughing because it's a beautiful thing to be more right than 2 Super Bowl champions. Michael Irvin came on yesterday with his drivel about what the Raiders were going to be. I knew you were coming on today, another Super Bowl champion. And oh, by the way, don't think I'm going to let you off the hook for 1 second. I see these numbers here by Derek Carr, 21 of 34, 196 yards, sacked sacked 4 times. I remember Keyshawn Johnson sitting up in there talking about what this brother was going to do, how this brother, top 5 quarterback, MVP candidate. There was a lot of stuff coming out of your mouth. Don't think I forgot. Don't make me call up the quotes. I'm glad you started off with your soliloquy the way that you did, because I had tape to call up in case you denied it, okay? I tried to tell you, Keyshawn Johnson. I tried to tell you about Derek Carr, right? Now, that's not to say that he's bad, because I still think he's a damn good quarterback. He's got a lot of promise. He's definitely moving upward. We get all of that. But in the end, when we look at the AFC West, I'm sorry, I'm thinking Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert long before I get to Derek Carr, and he showed me why last night. Apply a little bit of pressure, and it breaks pipes. In this case, it was Derek Carr's pipes. Now, I understand. I truly, truly understand what transpired yesterday. Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers came out like gangbusters, went out to a 21-0 lead. I'm going to give Coach Brandon Staley, the former defensive coordinator with the Los Angeles Rams, came across time after Anthony Lynn couldn't get it done over a period of 4 years as the head coach for the Chargers. Brandon Staley clearly looks the part. He looks a little Sean McVay-ish per se, and definitely he's got the moxie and the guts. When he went for a 4th and 2, in the fourth quarter, when you know the Raiders are down 21-14, and you got to stave them off because they're gaining some momentum, what does Brandon Staley do? He sits there and calls Justin Herbert's number. He said, I believe in this kid. I believe in you. Get that first down. And that's exactly what he ended up doing, which was a beautiful, beautiful thing to do. And ultimately, Eckler ended up scoring the touchdown and sealing the deal. In the end, when we look at Derwin James on the defensive side of the ball with Bosa, when we look at Herbert on the offensive side of the ball with Keenan Allen and Eckler and those boys, this team is a legitimate team. I think one can make the argument that right now they're the best team in the AFC, and I am so happy they exposed the Raiders to do so. As an aside, Keyshawn, I'm at the game last night, and I have no idea why they put me up on the big board. I don't know, the Jumbotron. They showed my face in the whole bit, and Raiders fans are booing me like they were the Cowboys or something. Now, all I did was say, yo, let me see them, Paul. Let them prove what they are worthy of. Let them prove themselves. That's all I said, okay? They're not the Cowboys. I love the Raiders. I love Raiders Nation. I love the Raiders fans. I can't stand Cowboy fans, but I love Raider fans. But Raider fans actually showed me they may be a bit delusional themselves. This team was 6-3 last year. Ends up wetting the bed, losing 5 or 6 over a 6-week period, and they falter and don't even make the playoffs. And got an attitude with me?
Well, you doubted their quarterback.
Keyshawn. It's a
Silver
problem,
and black
Keyshawn.
don't play.
That's what I wanted to say.
You definitely doubted their quarterback.
Well, part of the problem is you doubting them too much when they're headed in the right direction. Yes, the Chargers won. Yes, the Chargers are the leader of the pack in the AFC, in my opinion. But they, too, could come back to earth. We've seen the Chargers in the past, too, now. Let's not get it twisted, Stephen A., where they've been really good, and then all of a sudden they faded down the stretch. So it's a long season. There's no question about it. Did Derek Carr prove you wrong last night? Yes. Did I turn off the game when he threw the interception to Derwin James? Yes. All of that is true. There's no question about that. But you cannot deny that this team in the Raiders is headed in the right direction. When you look at the victories, when you look at the Baltimore defeat, you look at the Pittsburgh defeat at a time when we all thought Pittsburgh was okay. And then you look at the tough battle that they had against the Miami Dolphins. You got to tip your hat to them and say, okay, they're 3-1.
I mean, wait a minute. When you talk about they going in the right direction, how much room is there? It's a whole bunch of room to go in the right direction. You've been in the wrong direction for 20 years. I mean, damn. I mean, what have they done? I mean,
you don't like a healthy Jacobs? You don't like a healthy Jacobs? You don't like Henry Ruggs? You don't like what they're doing?
I do
you
like
that. That's headed in the right direction.
I like
them. And on top of that, their secondary, they was out there playing with me's and you's in the secondary last night. Come on now. Come on, be honest and be fair now.
I am being honest. Let me get to my point. My point is this, Keyshawn. I'm not going to allow you to twist this. I didn't say the Raiders were scrubs. My argument against you. Hold on. My argument against you was when you were talking about Derek Carr, top 5 quarterback. Derek Carr, MVP candidate. Do I have to call up the tape?
So let me ask you this, though. Let me ask you this. So prior to last night's debacle, was he not playing at an MVP level.
No, he's all right. 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, completing 64% of his passes. They 3 and what's so wide?
Only quarterbacks
beat
was
Miami
playing.
and Pittsburgh?
Only quarterbacks was playing better than him is Mighty Mouse in Arizona. That's
Yeah.
the only one.
Dak Prescott.
Dak
Yes.
Prescott, and Aaron Rodgers. And
Aaron
that's
Rodgers.
it. And that's it.